All right, good morning, everyone. We are now talking about Tropical Storm Francine. So, thank you so much for joining us on WLBT Plus First Alert Weather Edition. Always hard on the name, but we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on here, and we're really just gonna dive straight in. You can see the
Mm-hmm.
satellite and radar. This storm has started to tighten up a little bit. It was fighting with two lows just a couple days ago, and now it's a clear, defined center as you are seeing just a beautiful view of it, thankfully staying far away from us now, but it won't be staying that way for long as we're going to be talking about it starting to inch closer and closer to the Louisiana Gulf Coast and then back into our areas here in central Mississippi.
Yeah, definitely significant impacts on the way to us. So, I didn't bring a clicker. BRB.
I'll, I'll go into more detail about that while Elise goes and grabs the clicker. But yeah, we are live on social, we're live on Facebook as well and over on YouTube. So if you have any questions, you can just comment them and we'll be able to answer them in real time as well. It's the first time that we're doing that since the first time we tried this out. So we want to get all of y'all involved in this. And especially for those of you that do have questions, I've been on Facebook all morning long answering questions about where is this storm going to impact? Is it going to impact you? And how's it going to impact your family and friends? So that's really been the main concern is really where and when this storm system will start to make its way in the forecast. So you can see exactly what we're going to be looking at.
Yeah. So speaking of when, starting tomorrow after about lunchtime, the timing's still a little bit up in the air. Our models are not in agreement on where it's going to go or when it's going to go. So that's something we're still tracking for you. But our first alert weather days are for both Wednesday and Thursday. Expecting things to be all clear by lunchtime on Thursday, whatever the scenario ends up being. So you can look forward to that for sure. But what we're going to see, heavy rain, rainfall totals upwards of 5 inches are likely for most places at this time. Wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, also likely at this time. Some of you could see gusts as high as 60 miles an hour for sure. And a brief tornado also not going to be ruled out in this first alert forecast for us. This is just one model. We've got a more detailed look, but this just kind of gives you an idea of the heavy rain we're expecting to see across the area. It doesn't give you a good idea on the winds, but we've got that in here too. So a closer view on our first alert satellite and radar showing you plenty of rain already falling in areas south of I-20, especially along the Highway 84 corridor. Some of you have seen some moderate rain. That's about all we'll see through the day today. So this is your last quiet day to get things set for the storm to come.
Really, you have to get everything done by today. You want to make sure everything that is outside is tied down, loose objects put away, and you want to make sure that you have your house secured, everything secured, and just everything prepared. You want to have your extra batteries ready, things like that, your kits ready to go today. You don't want to wait until tomorrow because things are going to rapidly deteriorate into the day tomorrow. So we're already seeing, it's hard to believe that we're already seeing some of the outer bands technically from the storm. And it's really still far away. It's down near the Brownsville, Corpus Christi area into South Texas. And it's going to be riding up along the Texas coast on its way here, but already seeing a lot of heavy dense cloud cover, but it pretty much stops at I-20. So it's kind of funny.
Kind of weird.
North of I-20 and you're looking at beautiful sunshine and you go to the south and you're already seeing some showers and storms from this. So something that you do need to watch out for is already looking at some rain early into the part of the day.
Yeah, I just want to back up here and tell you as far as preparations are concerned, I just want to add, somebody commented this on my post earlier. Go ahead and get your laundry and your dishes done today in the event that your power goes out. You want to make sure you have as much clean laundry as possible because sometimes we don't know how long the power may be out for. So especially those more southern areas where you've got those tropical storm watches and warnings. I think we had a question pulled up here for Kosciuszko. The impacts are still likely to be the same for you in Kosciuszko. Really, our forecast doesn't change from north to south. The timing is the only thing that's going to change, and it's not nailed down at this time. But we've got one model here to give you an idea of the timing, at least.
There's a wide range in the models, depending on timing and intensity, because some of them are showing Category 2 force winds making landfall, and then actually some of us further off to the south and the west seeing the tropical storm force, maybe even up to low-end Category 1 status. But most models have us getting air winds of roughly 40 to 60 miles an hour, especially for areas south of I-20, areas to the north, like Kosciuszko, you could be seeing maybe winds of 20 to 40 instead of 40 to 60.
Mhm.
So it's going to slowly weaken as it goes further off to the north, but we're still talking about a lot of rainfall, regardless of where you are. And when to close and reopen my business, Rankin County, we'll see. Rankin County is going to see the biggest effects into the overnight hours. So
Mhm.
it's really going to be something to watch out for the next day, mainly for things like power outages and damage from this storm system, and as well as the fact that you're going to be sleeping through this, which is usually the worst time for storms to be rolling in. We deal with it
Yeah.
for tornado season. We're talking about it now with this hurricane or tropical storm, and it's something that you do need to be watching out for into the overnight hours. Make sure you have alerts on, your radar on, because you don't want to get
Absolutely.
caught off guard from one of these storms. It's not something you want to mess around with today.
Yeah, you want to have multiple ways
Mhm.
to get all those warnings and go ahead and have everything set up
Yes.
before you go to sleep. I'm seeing a comment here that says we have a lot of dead trees. Can you tell me what Macomb? We're really just getting into the impacts for Macomb, so you'll see it again. We haven't even gotten into the timing here yet. I'm reading this. We have a lot of dead trees. Need to remember that. Yes, we'll be falling on roads and power lines. Lots of dead trees that have yet to be taken care of because there's just so many and people have a lot of other things going on. In my neighborhood, they cleared most of the dead trees over the last few months. If you haven't gotten to it yet, keep that in mind. That is likely to cause some extra impacts to you, I guess we should say, as extra debris that could be falling. So we'll try to get into the timing here. Wednesday, we're expecting to see more widespread light to moderate showers through the early part of the day. And then we'll get some of the stormier conditions in here, as Chase mentioned, as we go through those overnight hours.
It really is going to start to pick up into the overnight,
Mhm.
sadly. And to to really avoid from missing y'all's places, because I know I see everyone commented where they're from and where they're trying to check in from. To avoid from missing y'all, if you live south of I-20, you're going to have a higher impact from the storm system than
Mhm.
you are going to be in areas north of I-20. So use I-20 as kind of your ruler on where exactly are you north of that line or are you south of that line. Just if you're south, you're going to be seeing higher impacts, more damaging winds, and heavier rain as well. Heavy
Mhm.
rain is going to be for everyone, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. But into the overnight is where we see our biggest concern into areas south and along I-20. And then into the early morning hours, we'll be seeing it move to areas north and along I-20. So really something that you need to watch out for. The closer that you get to that eye wall, which is now and further south along the Mississippi and Louisiana border, that's where you're going to be seeing the stronger winds. So that's, if you're tracking this storm system, that's where you need to be watching out for. Not for the thick, heavy rain,
Mhm.
but areas south of that into where you might not even see too much rainfall at all. So that's what we're looking for. And then thankfully, coming and going into the Thursday
Yeah.
morning time frame. So this model has it pushing out to areas north of I-20 into the time that you're waking up to head off to work or try to deal with the fact that you might be dealing with power outages
Yeah.
and things like that. So it really is up in the air in terms of when exactly it's going to push on out. By lunchtime, though, we should all be fairly clear, which is the good thing. It's just, will it clear out earlier at like 6 or 7, or will it
Mhm.
clear out more towards 9, 10, 11? So that's what we're going to be talking about, or really tomorrow is where we'll have a pretty clear idea.
Yeah, we'll have a much better idea on the timing by tomorrow. We're just really trying to reiterate to you what the impacts are expected to be, because we just don't want you to be surprised by anything that happens. Yes, we get a lot of questions about pinpoint locations. Like Chase mentioned, the major impacts are going to be in Wilkinson, Emmett, Pike, Walthall counties, Lawrence, Lincoln, Franklin, Adams. That's where we've got warnings right now. And I've actually got that graphic in here. That's where some of you have tropical storm warnings. The storm will still be stronger then because it hasn't dealt with as much land friction at that time. As it moves further north, it continues to lose steam, still expecting it to dump a lot of rain on you, but it may not have as much wind force. It may not be able to spin up as many or any tornadoes in that case. So this is...
Oh, sorry. I was seeing this question. It said, tune in from Lincoln County. Since we won't be on the right side, does that mean less tornadoes? That's actually a great question, to be honest with you, just because I love that you know that. On the right side of storms, usually on the right side of hurricanes, thanks to land friction, you actually have a higher chance to see quick spin up tornadoes, very, very possible, especially if you are on the right side of the storm. And I love that you mentioned that because that is a good point to bring up. So I think it's safe to say areas to the east of I-55. If you live east of I-55, you need to be also watching out for that tornado threat. It's not necessarily going to be an issue for areas to the west along the Mississippi River, especially if the models do shift a little bit more to the east. That's something that we'll be keeping a close eye on, but that is a fantastic question. If you are east, remember, east of I-55, you do need to be keeping in the back of your mind that an isolated tornado threat is also going to be possible. And actually, I'm looking at the.
This is the new track. Yeah.
So
that we're going to give it to you in the full screen view that the National Hurricane Center is expecting this to stay at Category 1 strength now, rather than weakening to a tropical storm as it moves through central Mississippi. It does, though, have it shifted slightly more east. So like Chase mentioned, along the Mississippi River, you're likely going to be good to go. I just saw a question about Scott County. Yes, you are going to be, you're east of I-55. You're going to be in that realm of where we could see some spin up tornadoes. Now, that is not really the highest concern on the list. It is a concern on the list. The highest concern is really going to be damaging wind gusts for all those weak and dead trees out there, along with flash flooding that's also potentially going to weaken some trees. If the ground is really soaked and you've got gusty winds coming through, that's going to make it easier sometimes for those trees to fall down. Of course, it's very dry out there right now, so most of our flash flooding is going to come because some of the rain can't penetrate the ground.
I think that's going to be the biggest concern is the flash flooding with a lot of this rainfall. It's only going to be falling in a short time span. I'm talking maybe 6 to 12 hours is what we're going to be looking at for some of this rain just to fall in some areas, and at least 5 inches in most places. That's not something to really mess around about. For the month, do you know what our total was for the month of August? Do you remember?
It was just over an inch because we got it in there right at the last second.
And we're expecting so much more than that in just this short time span. So just please be cautious. If you don't have to get out, just don't. We saw a question about school closings and things like that. And I honestly don't know what exactly they're going to do since this storm system is an overnight mainly storm system. So it might be an early dismissal type deal into Wednesday, things like that. So
this the newest cone from the National Hurricane Center does have potential for it to still have Category 1 strength by the time it moves into areas in southwest Mississippi, which is not really far from what we were expecting, because we expected you to see the worst of the impacts in those areas anyways. It also has things shifted a little bit further to the east, which is good news, but still half of the area would be on the eastern side of this. And remember, the storm is not going to move directly along the line that you see in this cone of uncertainty. That's why it's called that. It can be anywhere within that cone. That's just to give you an idea. And it draws your eye to it when you see that line and you see the little swirly of the tropical storm. But it could move west of that line. It could move east of that line. So we just want you to have the first alert and be prepared as we get into this. With that said, the further east it shifts, the better off we are, because we would be on the western side. It wouldn't be as windy. We wouldn't see that potential for tornadoes to spin up, really.
I saw a question that was asking about what speed is Category 1 storm. A Category 1 hurricane is 74 to 94 miles an hour. We're not expecting anything up to 94 here in our area. Now, off to the coast, could be seeing something along that lines. But here at home and across much of central Mississippi, we're going to be roughly around that range. Could bump up to that, maybe 70 for some of you, not for everyone.
For those really far southern counties.
Far southern counties, we could jump up to that Category 1 speeds. Most of us are still going to be dealing with tropical storm force winds. No matter where you are, that's going to be an issue. So that's why we've been preaching to just make sure you hunker down and hunker everything around you down into the day tomorrow. So, including things that you don't want to float away. Yes, that's it.
Because flash flooding is definitely on the list. Look at our forecast rainfall. This is a 7-day rainfall outlook. I'm putting that in quotations because this rain is expected to fall on us just Wednesday and Thursday. That's really high rainfall amounts. especially considering how dry we have been. To see in such a short period of time. That's why we keep reiterating this flash flood concern. Flood watches earlier today were only in very southern parts of the area. They still are. I'm not going to be surprised. I'm actually expecting to see this expanded further to the north.
Yeah, and our other meteorologist, Ashley Civic, was just saying that it's very important that you charge your portable chargers. If you can, do that now. Do that today.
Mhm.
Make sure you charge everything that you possibly can today. Like you were saying, do your laundry, do your dishes. If you have a generator, get that prepared as well. Go get the gas today, gasoline today, fill up your car today. Don't go crazy though. Don't go to the store and buy 27 gallons of milk and 27 things of toilet paper. I promise you won't need that, but you will want to make sure that you are prepared at least. You want non-perishable items and things like that.
Exactly. Non-perishables. Somebody at work here was asking me earlier, what are you going to have as far as non-perishable items are concerned? Peanut butter sandwiches, easy, quick, easy. Don't be getting to what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Picky about your bread, because I have a feeling the bread aisle is going to be a little sad by the end of the day today.
Maybe just a little bit.
And that's fine. That's an easy, relatively non-perishable item. Also want to say, this is something I thought of earlier this morning. Think about people who may not have as many resources as you. If you have an abundance of non-perishable items in your pantry, think about donating some to a food bank today if you have time, because many people are going to need that stuff as we get into the end of this week, maybe into the weekend. Just a thought, if you have the time, if you have the extra resources, to maybe try to help somebody out.
Exactly.
All right, we'll carry on our first alert forecast here. Tropical storm watches have been expanded, as have tropical storm warnings.
Oh man, I was just saying, I had a Facebook comment earlier, and the lady was asking me, do you think there will be a tropical storm watch for Pike County? And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised by 10 a.m. if they issued it. And sure, they actually issued a warning for Pike County and down near much of southern Mississippi now. And something to watch out for. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on that. And if you have any friends or family into Louisiana, especially along coastal Louisiana, give them a call. Give them a heads up. They've already issued mandatory evacuations for much of southern Louisiana, and a lot of those people are going to be traveling north, and that will include into our portions of Mississippi. So if you see someone and that is traveling, they're giving up a lot to try to get away from this storm. So just give them a helping hand if you can.
Yeah.
And just make sure you put your patient pants on the roads too. I wouldn't be surprised if I-55 North is a little crowded. Yeah, a little crowded because of this storm system. So don't get mad. These people, they have their lives too, and they're trying to get away from this storm that looks to bring very devastating damage to much of coastal Louisiana. So just please put on your patient pants.
Yeah, we got a comment pulled up here from Ashley as well. If you lose power, don't forget we'll be streaming as well. We're going to be here all night long, Wednesday night. There's not going to be an hour without somebody from our First Alert weather team here watching the weather. We'll be streaming. We'll be constantly putting out live updates. Even if we're not putting out live updates, we'll be updating at least on the hour so that you know what's going on. We don't want you to be without information that is new.
It's going to be a long night, that's for sure.
It is going to be a long 2 days for us. So wind gusts will already start to pick up through Wednesday afternoon. Even before the worst of the weather gets here, we could see gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Wouldn't be surprised to see them up to 40 miles an hour randomly. And that is, again, before the bulk of the storm gets here, just into the afternoon hours.
Yeah, still a bit breezy ahead of that, but the real winds are going to be coming into the day after that. And the good news is, if you want to talk about it as good news, it's not going to feel that bad out there for Wednesday or Thursday. It's going to be into the mid 70s. Wow. Granted, that does come.
I don't think many people will be outdoors
I don't think so either.
enjoying the weather.
The weekend does look nice, though. So if you can get out and enjoy your weekend, I would recommend it. Again, the humidity will start to return into Sunday, and so does the isolated chance for some rain. But again, it should not be a washout by any means. Your weekend should be good to go for any plans. And hopefully the storm doesn't mess too many things up, so you can actually spend your time enjoying it instead of cleaning up maybe some dead tree branches that fall off somewhere here and there. So And hopefully you can actually go out and really just enjoy your weekend after this.
I know I'm going to spend all
week.
weekend picking up sticks and limbs. I just know it already. The whole weekend.
I think I'm gonna be sleeping.
And you know what I did all earlier this week? Pick up sticks and limbs from last week. So listen, if you got to deal with it, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Our current conditions, overcast. This is from Monticello. It's probably warm. Actually, it's not that warm. That's thank you clouds. 73 in Macomb, you've barely warmed up. 79 in Jackson. It does feel a little warmer. It's going to be a little muggy. We may go back and look at some questions on here from our Facebook if you're streaming on there. If you're on the app, we'll read the question because you may not be able to see it. Just to go back over some stuff in case somebody just got on the stream. So I guess I could even click backwards.
I forget that we can go backwards sometimes.
Backwards. All right. Tropical storm watches and warnings, flood watches expected to be expanded. Rainfall totals very high, upwards of 5 inches. This is the current track. We'll go back through this.
Yeah, this is still having it, making landfall, Category 2 storm, and then actually holding some of its strength together. Now, this is there any way to see it? No, I don't think so. I think we'll have to go all the way in there. But this is saying all the way until Wednesday evening, overnight hours as well. So it's still having it as a Category 1 storm. I don't necessarily it would have to be a really strong system to actually hold together that far inland as a Category 1 storm. So that's something that you do need to watch out for into does that say Thursday morning at 6:30? Is that what that says? Yes. Can't read that.
Yes.
See my glasses.
That's what that says. Oh. And these are just what's the word I'm looking for?
It's late for
us. I don't
us.
know. We've been up a long time.
We've been up a long time.
It's just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea I'm going for in this sentence. It's just an idea of what we can see. There are still many hours for us to fine tune these details, for the National Hurricane Center to fine tune these details. When you see that Category 1 strength, that would be very low end Category 1, not expecting winds of 90 miles an hour in the metro, maybe winds up to 75 miles an hour in those areas a little bit further south of the metro.
Still, 75-mile-an-hour wind gusts
absolutely can cause some damage.
Cause a lot of damage. So it's not something to take lightly. Straight line wind damage is definitely something that you need to be watching out for with this storm system. You're not going to be seeing, I guess technically you could be seeing some type of tornado damage with some of these quick spin up tornadoes possible, but most of us are going to be seeing straight line wind damage from the storm system from Francine. I keep saying storm system. It has a name.
It does.
Francine that will be pushing in from the Gulf here in the next couple of days. So by Thursday, you really need to be keeping a close eye on this. Please, 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 please. If you take anything at all from this, have your preparations done today.
Yep.
Tonight. Do not go to bed unless they're done.
Yeah.
Do not. You need to make sure that they are done tonight. We're not taking any risk for this storm. We're going to make sure that you have some of the worst case scenarios and some of the better cases. Like one of the models we were just looking at earlier had it streamlining east. And
it did.
And we pretty much saw nothing.
And we'll point that out too. Somebody asked this question earlier that Chase answered. If you're on the right side of the storm, is that where you have the chance for tornadoes? Yes, that would be the eastern side. If this system last minute decides that it's going to shift, if the models keep shifting and the storm shifts to the east and we're on the western side, our rainfall totals could be much lower. Our gusty winds will not be as strong, and we won't see that big risk for spin up tornadoes. So all things to keep in mind. Take this with a grain of salt and continue to come back here for updated information because things are constantly changing in a system like this.
I guarantee you, Peyton and Dave, when they come back in today, they will have a completely different model to show you. Things will look fairly similar, but still just a little bit different in some different type of ways. So it is important that you keep coming back, and we'll be back tomorrow and the day after that. And we're going to be keeping a very close eye on this and tracking it with you. We want to make sure you're not blindsided by anything in any way as well. So we're trying to show you everything and tell you everything. But I think that's it.
Yeah, the key takeaways we'll reiterate here. Gusty winds, There is a potential, especially along and east of I-55, to see spin up tornadoes. For all of the area right now, there's a big potential for flash flooding with rainfall totals upwards of 5 inches. So get your preparations done today. Like Chase said, don't go to sleep without them done, because tomorrow, if you try to get them done, you're going to be running around in the rain. And that's just not going to be very pleasant.
The situation will quickly go downhill into the day tomorrow.
It will. I did see some questions here about school closures, preschool closures. It's going to depend on what the timing looks like. Right now, the worst of the weather's not going to be here until the evening on Wednesday. I don't think a lot of schools are going to close just for the rain that we're seeing before the system moves in. Definitely be on the lookout to see if schools are closed on Thursday, either because of damage, because of power outages, something like that. I think that's a more likely case scenario, just because this is looking to be more of an overnight event.
But even though it's an overnight event, you need to be keeping a close eye on this as
Definitely.
well. Please keep your ringers on, everyone. It's very important that you hear the alarm when it is sounded, if there is one. So I don't want anyone to be caught off guard. And if I don't have an enjoyable, peaceful sleep, then neither will you. I will personally make sure that you hear that alert.
Wake up.
Wake up. It's time to wake up. So please just make sure you be safe. We will Ashley just brought up a good point. If you have a weather radio, that's a great tool to have.
Make sure you have extra batteries for it.
Extra batteries are an essential item. Your medications are an essential item. Making sure you can have everything within a close proximity of you during the storm system is going to be essential. And please charge all your devices and turn your ringers on tonight, everyone. Or really
tomorrow
night.
Turn them on tomorrow. Tonight you can have a peaceful sleep.
Someone just asked, how about the Pacific area, like Fiji? Well, I wish I could be in Fiji. That sounds nice.
They've had a lot of they've had a lot of things going on in the Pacific. I don't know.
But our eyes are focused on this.
Yes.
So, I think that's all we got for you right now. And make sure you tune back in at 2:30 today. And we'll be back tomorrow at 11 or 10 and 11.
And we'll be on the air from 4:30 to 7, and then from 7 to 9 on Fox.
Just make sure you are tuned in at all times to try and get the most up-to-date information. Things change very quickly with hurricanes and with storms like these. So as always, be safe. Have a great rest of your day. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Elise and I. Have a great rest of your day.